Today is Valentine's Day, so if you're watching this and you're single, there's a good chance you'll be feeling a bit sad and lonely. But please bear in mind, you'll probably feel just as sad and lonely tomorrow. I mean, even Hitler had a girlfriend. What the hell is wrong with you? Actually, if you are single on Valentine's Day, there's a good chance you've saved a shitload of money. The markup companies put on their items for this one day is utterly obscene. So Mrs. Disgruntled gets a card and she's happy with it. That being said, she is married to me, so I guess for her, every day is like winning the lottery. So with it being Valentine's Day, we'll meet a number of people, all of whom, regardless of anyone's gender or sexuality, all of whom I think will all agree it's a good job that none of us are dating any of them. We'll meet some members of what I call the TQ cult, the more extreme ends of the trans, queer and non-binary communities, the ones who make small demands like, could everyone else in the world ignore reality so that my feelings don't get hurt? We'll then meet a fetishist and finish up with a good old-fashioned lunatic. So let's kick off with a trans man, so a woman identifying as a man, at best. At worst, she may have already had irreversible surgery to make herself feel more masculine. In a short TikTok, which I've had to mute to get around copyright, explaining the difficulties she has using the Grindr app. An app designed specifically for gay men. I've said before that there are many trans women, so cross-dressing men, who think femininity can be broken down to something akin to a costume, that makeup, long hair and a dress, as well as some offensive and outdated tropes and stereotypes, that's womanhood. It now transpires that that woman, a trans man, is doing the same thing. Does she think that's what men do? We sit there all day just rocking away to ourselves on our mobile phones. Particularly if you're a white man, like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's oppress women and minorities. And in the same way that the transbians, the trans women, or straight men who think lesbians will be attracted to them, she's doing the same thing with gay men. Now, I can't speak for gay men, I'm a straight guy. But I will hazard a guess as to why that man dressed as a woman isn't having much luck on Grindr. And here I'm painting with a very, very broad brush, using sweeping generalisations. But in my experience, with the gay men I have known throughout my life, generally, they fucking love cock. They can't get enough of it. I've had gay mates, and I know once they start telling me about their new boyfriend, I've got about 2 minutes until they hear about that bloke's dick. I didn't ask about it, I'm not particularly interested, but they're gonna tell me anyway. That's being an ally. So let's move on from a confused woman trying to pass herself off as a man. Very unconvincingly, I mean, at best, she might be able to pass herself off as a member of an under-14s boys football team. Let's move on now to a woman who is apparently attracted to everyone.
The polyromantic pride flag. Polyromantic is a sexuality that describes being romantically attracted to multiple genders. The pink stripe represents attraction to women. The green stripe represents attraction to non-binary genders. The blue stripe represents attraction to men. And the heart in the middle represents the romantic attraction component of this sexuality.
Polyromantic, attracted to all genders. Now, given that technically there still are only two, the others are all made up, is that not just a very fancy way of saying bisexual? Is it that being bisexual doesn't get enough attention? I mean, after all, most people can recognise the bisexual flag. Where's the fun in that? I suspect that once again this is narcissistic attention seeking. Being bi isn't enough. There has to be something new, a new flag, a new word. And I find it interesting that many L's, G's and B's, so lesbians, gays and bisexuals, are actively distancing themselves from the TQ cult. And that makes sense, because those first three letters, they are sexualities. All the others are identities. And you find so many people in the TQ cult, their identity is all they have. They have no personality whatsoever. As an aside, I've also noticed recently that many women, in particular white women, who've never had a relationship with another woman or sexual encounter with another female, will say they're bisexual. My guess there is that they're straight, but that doesn't get them enough attention. My real concern in that clip though was for the dog, because is it just me, or does that woman look like she buys a lot of peanut butter? If you don't know what I mean, I'm not telling you. Next up, we have a woman explaining more about gender.
Gender and presentation do not go hand in hand. Gender is a feeling you have inside, and how you present is an outward expression of your internal feeling of gender. You do not need to do anything to be trans or non-binary. You don't need surgery, you don't need hormones, you don't need to change your name. You can look the same way you do now, use the same pronouns you do now, and be trans or non-binary. You also don't need to disclose your gender to anyone. Discovering your gender is for you. Embrace the change and don't be afraid of it.
She's not a bad looking lass. Yet, the giveaway signs are there. The massive septum piercing and the manic stare. The stare that says she's told her parents she's still taking her medication, but she's flushing it down the toilet. She's definitely one of them. That being said, I agree with a lot of what she's saying. I think this video should be shown in schools. Saying that you can be trans or non-binary without having surgery or going on hormones. That's a great message to get to kids, because there's so much social contagion, and so many kids think they're trans and then grow out of it. And often, this feeling that they may be something that they're not happens at a time when there are massive hormonal changes, lots of mood swings. We used to just call it puberty. Also, the idea that people could transition and keep their name and their pronouns and could do it in private, make it something personal. I would love to go back to that forgotten utopia. Back in the days when you could walk down the high street without some blue-haired harpy screaming, "My pronouns are ugh," and I identify as a gender-fluid, non-binary, pansexual cement mixer. So now we'll see a gentleman who is a fetishist. I find this genuinely disturbing.
That's good.
If you've seen a few of my videos, you'll know by now that I, as an individual, am not troubled by such issues as dignity and self-respect. But for God's sake, man, have some shame. Now, I go to Pride events, and these, I think they're called pup clubs, are always there. And I never go over and ask what it's about. I will happily go to my grave in ignorance. But that's a different level. Pretending to be a dog, getting excited to be fed in a restaurant. So there are a couple of inconsistencies. Generally speaking, dogs do not sit at the table, and I've yet to see one using a knife and fork. I mean, okay, I used to pretend to be a dog myself, but then I turned 3 and grew out of it. And that man is wearing a wedding ring. Someone is married to that. And if he really wants to pretend to be a dog, then please can someone set an Alsatian on him? Or a Doberman or a Rottweiler. And all of those breeds of dogs, if raised correctly, are no danger to anyone. I suppose the good thing is, if he really wants to be a dog, if he plays up too much, you can take him to the vet and have him put down. So let's finish with a swivel-eyed lunatic, a proper foaming at the mouth job. And regardless of your sexual orientation, what I'd like you to imagine is this person is your partner and you're going to introduce them to your friends and or family. She waffles on for a bit, but I've left the whole clip in to give you the full horror.
Hi, my name is Asa. I am a member of the DID system, and I'm also a bearded vulture therian. I have 2 questions. One is for other therians, specifically bird therians, and the other question is for other systems who have therian system members. So first question for other bird therians, what are some things you do that help you feel more connected to your stereotype? Like, I know that for people whose stereotypes are 4-legged, they can do quadrobics, and that helps them a lot. But obviously that's not applicable to bird therians. I also want to clarify for anyone who doesn't know, quadrobics does not automatically equal therians. People can do quadrobics and not be a therian. So that's my first question, how to feel more connected to bird stereotypes. And second question is for systems with therian alters. do these alters appear human in our world, or do they appear as their stereotype in our world? Or is it kind of a combo situation? Like, we have someone in our system who is both a guy and a vulture at the same time. We don't consider him a Therian because he doesn't consider himself a Therian. He just kind of exists as both of those things at once. Is that how Therian alters work in you guys' systems? Just very curious about how other people experience this kind of thing.
Hello, mother, father. This is my girlfriend. She has a wonderful personality. In fact, I've now discovered she's got about 12 of them. That woman is doing the TikTok trend for faking having DID, dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. Now, I know she's faking for two reasons. First of all, DID is so rare that many psychologists can't even agree whether or not it exists. And secondly, everyone on TikTok with DID, they all sound exactly the same. They're all part of a system who's come forward to talk on behalf of the system. So that woman there, and I don't think she honestly believes it, is probably several women and men and a fucking vulture. And that she's reaching out on TikTok to other, what are they, Therians for advice? It means there are more of them. They are walking among us. She's just another attention-seeking loon. And a few years ago, the treatment would be to strap her to a bed and attach some jump leads to her skull, whereas now we're meant to affirm it. But what I would do in this situation, as with all the fake DID situations, is lean into it. If she thinks she's a vulture, I'd get some roadkill and go, tuck into that, you'll fucking love it. That's the end of this video. On Valentine's Day, no matter what our relationship status, I think we can all be grateful we're not dating any of those. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and as ever, thanks for watching. Today is Valentine's Day. It's Saint Valentine's Day. Go Christianity. Valentine's Day. So, if you're single today, there's a good, I'll fuck that up, don't I? Number of people who, regardless of your gender, sexual orientation, bollocks to it, stereotypes. Now it transpires that fuck it, transpires that trans men are doing the same thing. Does she think all that men do is sit there just rocking away? Why is that rocking away? Test would pass for, say, a 14-year-old choir boy. Imagine how disappointed the vicar would be when he pulls its trousers down and finds out it's female. Really romantic. Being attracted to more than two well, fucking give it up, Dan. Those utopian halcyon days, you poncy twat. Oh, fuck it.